All right, so we're back and we're going to finish the third part of our book called Forces Make Things Move. And yesterday we talked about friction. Do you remember what friction is? Friction is also a force, right? And friction is what slows things down, okay? And there's friction even in the air, although it's only a small amount and we can't see it. And we left off with me asking, what force do you think we're going to talk about today? Remember I said it had to do with space and why the car is still in the air and it didn't fall down? That's right, we're going to talk about gravity. All right. The second force that stops the car is called gravity. If you drop the car, it falls. Why? Why doesn't it stay up? You haven't thrown it down. You haven't pushed it or pulled it, but it moved. So some other force must be pulling it down. The force is called gravity. Gravity is the force that every object has for every other object. So look, he was holding the taxi up in his hand and he dropped it and it fell down. And even the cat jumped down and the cat's falling down. You have gravity. Your big brother has gravity. If the two of you are standing on opposite sides of the room, you both have a tiny, tiny amount of gravity pulling you toward each other. You will never feel the force from this gravity. It is much too small. So, why don't you guys try that? Why don't you stand a few feet apart from somebody and see if you can feel the gravity pulling you towards each other? Go ahead, do it real quick. Were you able to feel the gravity pushing you towards each other? It's because it's much too small. The gravity force between any two objects depends on how much they weigh. Most of the time, gravity is a teeny tiny force. When you hold a carrot in your hand, there is gravity force between you and the carrot, but you will never feel it. There is gravity force between your big brother and your cat, but neither of them cares. You can feel the gravity between you and another object only if either you or the other object is really, really huge. Really huge, like the size of the entire Earth, the whole planet. Everyone can feel the Earth's gravity. It's a big force. The Earth's gravity pulls you and everything else on or near the Earth down. It pulls things toward the center of the Earth. If you dug a deep hole and dropped your big brother into it, he'd fall until he hit the bottom. The Earth's gravity would pull him all the way down. So the gravity is pushing us all down, okay? And that's why we're on the ground, right? If there was no gravity on Earth, would we be on the ground or would we be floating? We would be floating, that's right. The Earth has so much gravity that when we say gravity, we're almost talking about the Earth's gravity, not the gravity between you and your big brother or the gravity between a carrot and a cat. Gravity is such a part of our everyday lives that you probably don't even think about it. If you spill a glass of milk, what's going to happen to the milk? If you tipped over your milk cup, what's going to happen to the milk? Is the milk going to float up or is it going to go down? That's right, it's going to fall down. You expect it to spill down onto the floor rather than up onto the ceiling. If you let go of your toy car, you expect it to fall to the ground. If you throw your car across the room, don't do that though, your parents won't be very happy. Across the room, you expect it to end up on the floor, not suspended halfway up the living room wall. So because of the force of gravity on Earth, everything gets pushed down. Now, if there wasn't gravity on Earth, if you spilt your milk, it probably would float up to the ceiling, but we're not in space. Gravity is why apples on trees fall down to the ground instead of staying up in the sky. Gravity makes it hard to throw a baseball all the way to the moon. It's why our parents' cars stay on the ground instead of soaring through the air. It's why rockets to space have such huge engines. The big engines make enough force to be stronger than gravity. So unless your mom's car has these huge engines, her car is always going to be on the ground because gravity is pushing the car down, just like it pushes the apples down to the ground. Why, when you throw a ball, it might fly a little bit, but eventually the gravity is going to push it down to the ground. Forces are all around us. Forces make things go faster and slower. They make things stop. They make things start. Forces get things moving. So, the 4 different forces are pushing, pulling, friction, and gravity, okay? And without these forces, we probably wouldn't be able to do a lot of the stuff that we do every day. All right? I look forward to seeing your work for our forces.